Hello there and welcome to On Deck with Coach Cameron. That's hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron. This is our live broadcast program you're watching via Google Hangout. Now, this broadcast it comes to you every Tuesday, Thursday morning, 9 o'clock Sydney, Australia time. And if you're an iTunes user or you like SoundCloud, you can follow us up later on. The recording will be on iTunes and SoundCloud. And all you need to do when you're searching on iTunes or SoundCloud is either search for Coach Cameron Roberts, or you can hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron and we'll pop up. The links will also be posted to Twitter and to Facebook, so you can find us there as well. Now, today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 7 steps that you can do to dominate your target market. The 7 steps you can do to dominate your target market, category, industry, whatever it is you want to call it, your niche, within the niche, whatever it is that you do. I want to give you 7 steps to dominating your competition because, what I find as a speaker, coach, sales trainer, and also digital marketer, a lot of businesses that come to me, business owners that come to me for help initially, they're not dominating their target market. And, domination shouldn't be a negative word. It shouldn't be a word like, oh, no, that's a negative word. For me to dominate, someone else has got to lose. No, that's not right at all. You see, for you to dominate actually means that you're going to provide the best possible service that you can provide to your market, to your industry. Okay, so you want to dominate. It's just, it's like an athlete who trains for a marathon or an industry. Those guys and girls aren't training and doing all the hard work, making all the sacrifices just so they can perform below par on race day, just so that when they get to the competition, they can, go slower than they've gone before. Everyone who competes, whether they're an athlete, an entrepreneur, they're always aiming to do their best under pressure, and under pressure is the competition. Now, in your business, in your, whatever it is that you do as an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, a speaker, a business owner, whatever it is that you do, you should be playing to win. You should be playing to dominate. If you're not offering the best service to your prospects, your customers, and your raving fans. So the 7 steps to dominating your target market is really about helping you and empowering you as the entrepreneur or business owner to, make more of an effort and to be more aware of the strategies that you can do in your business to allow you to better serve the people who you call your customers, your clients, your patients, and whoever those people are that you serve in the marketplace. So I've made some notes here and I want to make sure I get through all of them because they're the 7 steps that I put in the snippet to this Hangout and this podcast. So step number 1 is keep to your word. It's very important as a business owner or an entrepreneur that the people in your business and yourself keep to your word. You want to make sure that you keep to your word. Now, I've got a story on this. Just recently, my wife and I have done some, major renovations in our backyard, done our backyard up, looks fantastic, kind of looks like a resort now. We don't have to go on holidays. We're on holidays all the time, right? So we've done up our backyard, and one of the last jobs that we did was we put a really nice fence up, and it's, one of those nature reed fences. And so it kind of looks like, Bali or Indonesia, and it's got that really thin, type wood effect, and it just looks like that Balinese type effect in the backyard. So it's really bought up the backyard and looks great. However, it's almost embarrassing to say how much money this fence costs, and I don't think I want to share it with you, but hey, it was just a lot of money, but it looks great, right? It's a lot of money, but it looks great. But here's the thing: even though we invested a lot of money to have the fence put up and it looks great, we're sitting there 3 weeks later because we hadn't been out in the backyard since the fence was put up, and we didn't have time to really relax. And so we're sitting out in the back 3 weeks later when we caught up with some time, and we're sitting out there just enjoying watching the kids play in the backyard and so on. And I noticed up in the back corner there's about a 2.5 meter panel of fencing that's a different color to the rest of the fence. The rest of the fence is this really dark brown, reddish type color, so it has that Balinese effect. But in this one patch, it's a lighter brown and a lighter shade of the brown. And and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, that's odd. I wonder why that's a different color to the rest of the fence, as I'm looking around at the fence. And so I walk up into the back of the garden to get a closer look. And sure enough, it's a different type of fencing. So whereas the normal nature reed, are so thin, this one was a bit wider, it was a bit thicker. And so, I'm looking at it and I go, that's a whole different fence, because it comes in bundles, rolls. And so what happened was, obviously what has happened is that when the installers have come out to put this fence up, they've unrolled this one piece and it's been a different different type of fence. Even though it's the same brand, it's the next version up, or it's another version. It's a different thickness and a different color. Well, rather than tell us at the time, they put it up and they've nailed it in and they've put it all in and they've not said anything to us. And now, we normally, you can't see it from, our house. So it wasn't until we sat back out in the backyard 3 weeks later and we're looking up that I picked it up in the garden, because our house slopes up on a block. And so as we're sitting there looking in the garden, and I've picked it out and I've checked it out, and sure enough, it's a different fence type, different color, different width. It's a totally different batch of fence, this last 2.5 meters that they've stuck on. And they've intentionally stuck it right up in the corner to almost kind of hide the fact that it was a different batch. And so my wife rings up the lady who we bought the fencing off, and she didn't do anything, with it. So it was like, she was blaming the installers and saying the installers can't fix it. And all she said to my wife was, hey, you know what you got to do? You've just got to paint it. And we're thinking like, well, we've just spent all this money on the fence and, 10% of it's a different color. Why should we have to paint it when we've invested all this money to have the fence? So, you really got to keep to your word in your business. And if you find something like that, you need to fix it. And that leads to my next one is fix your problems fast. What have you got to do to fix your problems fast? So step number one was keeping to your word. If you're going to put something up, and do something for someone like this really nice fence that this company did for us, well, keep to your word, do it on the described day and time that you'll say it's going to get done. But if there's a problem, this is step number 2 to dominating a market, is fix problems fast. So you've got to keep to your word, but number 2 is fix problems fast. So this lady who we bought this fence off, she should have just fixed the problem. I know, maybe it would have costed her $500 or $1,000 to have the installers come out and put a new piece of fence up. But, she would have been, she would have left us as the customer in a much more happier mind. So now we've got to figure out, what are we going to do with this different color fence? Do we just leave it, and every time we look in the backyard we can notice it's a different color? Or do we go and paint it? When we've paid all this money for the fence anyway, do we just go and paint it and try and match it with a paint? And again, you can see the disconnect that's going to happen here. They would be better just to fix the problem fast. Now, just backtracking, I just read in my notes there another example about keeping to your word in business. I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but because we are doing up our backyard, we've been working with a lot of tradespeople, and some of my best friends are tradies, and I love them. But there's one tradie who we've been working with. He done a great job initially tiling our backyard for us, and then he was going to come and do the front. It was only a 20-meter job, and it's probably not a massive job for him, but it was still, he had to lay the concrete, do the tiles and all that. So, it could be a couple of $1,000s in it for him. So anyway, so he's booked the job with my wife for the a certain date and time. Anyway, we prepare the front, we get all the old pavers out, we get all the fatty sand out that's underneath the pavers for him to get ready to lay new concrete, and his team to lay new concrete and do all the tiling. And anyway, sure enough, the date rolls around and no one shows up. So he's booked the date in with my wife, right, in her diary. He's been standing there with his diary. He's booked it in his phone. My wife's booked it in that, yes, they both agree that on this date they're going to come back and complete the job and do our front door area, 17, 20 square meters, whatever it is. Anyway, the date rolls around. We don't hear from the tiler. We try and ring him up. He doesn't answer our calls, and there's just a no-show. Now, a week goes by, and we've rung him a couple of times, and he's not answering our calls. 2 weeks goes by, and we start ringing the tile shop to where he subcontracts out and try and track him down. we find out that he's supposedly, been sick or got a cold or whatever. He's got the man flu, and so hasn't been able to, do our job. Well, it would have been nice just to get a courtesy call. So anyway, we ring him back 3 weeks later. My wife finally gets him, and he says, yes, I'm a bit busy at the moment. I'll ring you this afternoon. Well, that afternoon passes, and he doesn't ring. So 2 or 3 more times, my wife has chased him up. And every time he says, yes, I'll ring you back this afternoon, or I'll ring you back and confirm that date, and he never does. He's not keeping to his word. Now, he's done a fantastic job out the back, but you can see the disconnect that's now happening for us as the customer in the last little bit. He's done this fantastic job 80% of the time, so he's done a great job out the back, but he's just not getting over the line on the last little bit. He's just got to open up the communication lines and just let us know what's going on. If he can't get there for another week, 4 weeks, he should just let us know. Hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Roberts, we can't get there for another 4 weeks, but I promise we'll have it done before the end of the year. But either way, don't string us along and don't not answer our call and don't not call us back. So it's going to be very hard for us to recommend, those two people. It's going to be hard for us to recommend, to our friends about putting up the new nature reed fences, or anyone that wants to put up a Balinese type fence, because of the negative experience we've had with the different batch that went up. And it's going to be hard for us to recommend, a good tiler, even though he's done fantastic work out the back, because of, it's been now 6 weeks and we've had a front door that's been ready for him to do. We dug up all the pipe pavers and sand, and so we're walking in and out dirt for 6 weeks thinking that he's been coming, and he's not. You see, so if we recommend him to a friend, is he going to do that to a friend as well? So you can see why people are hesitant in recommending people to their friends. So that's step 1, is keep to your word. And step 2 is to fix problems fast. Now, I've just mixed up some of the orders there, so let me just tick those off. Now, the next step, step 3, would be to become the go-to person or the expert in your industry. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's quite simple. You can write reviews on other people's websites. You can get in newsletters. You can create your own newsletters. You try and create newsworthy things in your local area. It's quite easy to dominate your local community and get on the local news. What can you do that's not being done in your community? Can you have a family fun day? Can you raise a lot of money for charity? Can you do something special in your business, something out of the ordinary that's going to get exposure, in the local paper, that's going to be newsworthy, that's going to be able to get a film crew out or a radio crew out? Can you do some sort of breakfast or some sort of special event where you can invite the local radio station out to come and broadcast from that special event? So, being the go-to person is about being the expert in your industry as well. So, you've got to write and comment and be a part of your industry. You can have your own Facebook pages. You can have your own Google Plus communities. You can have your own LinkedIn groups. If you're an expert in a particular field, you can open up those groups, communities, and Facebook groups and social media groups to yourself, and you can run those yourself, and you can build communities there, and you can be the head person to go to there. And so that anyone in your local community, when they're looking for someone in your industry, everyone knows that you're the go-to person, you're the expert in your industry. And it's quite easy to do on a local level, and you've just got to make sure that you have a niche market. You've got to make sure that people know that you're the expert in the industry. And, you can do that, as I said, by creating newsworthy things, by getting in the news. It's quite easy if you go to the local papers. Many local papers are looking for people to write articles, to add stories. Can you do that for your local paper? Can you do a regular segment on a local radio station? Many local radio stations are looking for content. Maybe not some of the bigger ones, but maybe, the smaller ones. They're certainly looking for content on an ongoing basis. Can you be, someone that they can call up on a regular basis for comments and commentary on your particular market, whether it's, the economy, or whether it's business, or whether it's relationships, or whether it's social media? Can you be that person they can just ring up and get commentary and comments from? So be the go-to person in your industry, and that will help you dominate your target market. Now, the next one is to gain recognition. So we're up to step 4, I think we're up to. The next step is to gain recognition. And one of the easiest ways to gain recognition is to win awards. Now, you can win awards voted by your peers, so you can be in, like, some sort of industry community, or you can be a part of some sort of association, and you can strive to excel within the association, so you can win an industry awards. But the awards that I'm really interested in for you to win are the local community awards. You want to win awards that the community has voted for, your prospects, your customers, your fans. People have voted you for. So, can you win local business awards? What awards can you win that you can promote on your social media pages, to your database, to your list, so that it's almost like, again, you're the go-to person. You're the most award-winning person in your business. And I can remember at one time in one of my businesses, after we started off with 0 clients and only 3 staff, and we built it up to be a business that had over 1,200 clients each and every week and over 25 staff. And that was started with 3 people and 0 clients. But here's what's interesting. In the first 4 years, we worked so hard, and we got ourselves out into the community and supported community events and established joint relationships with other business owners, and went in all the local business awards, and submitted all the information they needed about our business and answered their questions and jumped through all their hoops and all of that. In the first 4 years, our business won more awards of our kind than any of our competitors combined. And in fact, one year, I tell a funny story when I'm on stage. One year, that particular business was winning so many awards. Actually, I left a bit out. So what happened was, that business was going so well, we opened a second business model. Now, the second business model wasn't anything to do with the first business. So we had one business in one part of the region, another business in another part of the region, and they were totally different businesses, totally different clients, totally different services, right? And so what happened was, we were winning so many awards at this business, then I started to do the same thing at the other business and started to win awards over here. Now, funny enough, one of the judges came into my original business one year, and humans being human, they tend to be a little bit nasty sometimes, I guess is the word I'm looking for. One of my staff members, whether she said it tongue-in-cheek or whether she said it as a joke or whether she was serious, she still said it. She was a judge at the business awards, and she told one of my reception staff that year that she was going to make sure that that particular business didn't win any awards, and that we wouldn't win awards this year. And when we got to the awards, I had stacked the tables. You see, because in our category, out of the 6 businesses that were nominated as finalists, I actually owned 2 businesses in that category. But when you've seen them come up on the screens and when they were announced, nobody knew, but obviously my team knew and people close to me knew. But, the rest of the audience didn't know that out of the 6, there was 2 different businesses there that were owned by the same person. And so what happened was, that year, when they announced the winner, our first business didn't win the award, but our other business did. So all of our team got up there, and the judges' table's right there at the bottom of the stage, and we're all up there, and we just smile and wave at the judge who said that we wouldn't win that year. Well, she was right. We didn't win that business, but we won another business over there. So that was it's kind of funny story. But so it just goes to show you want to gain recognition. And one of the things that I always put down to my success in those businesses was the amount of awards that we did win. And they were awards voted by the community, by our customers, by the people that we serve. So, you need to gain recognition and win awards, and that will be great for dominating your target market. We never had any problems selling our services to other people because they came preconditioned. They knew that we were one of the most award-winning businesses of our kind in our region. So, they were happily referring their friends and family. And, we did the right marketing for it. We were very strategic with the marketing and the words we used and the phrases that we created, and, the images and the social media and how people could buy, our services online or offline, and all of that. We're very strategic about it. But, it was great to see so many people referring their friends, family, and work colleagues to that business. Again, and it was because of the recognition that we had gained. Now, the next step, and I think we're up to step number 5, is to be approachable and also to be contactable. Now, I don't know what it is that you do, and you might be CEO of, a small business or a medium enterprise or whatever it is you do. But, I know some business owners who like disconnect themselves from the business. There's business owners that I've worked with that their business is maybe them and 2 or 3 other staff members. And what they do is they set up this, this image of their business being a disconnect between them and their business. And yes, they want to brand themselves. They want to, put everything about their logo. But what they forget is that people relate to them, especially if they're a service-driven business. I mean, for instance, like a personal trainer. It's a very good example. You can be a personal trainer and people actually come to you because of the relationship and the connection they have with you as a personal trainer. Now, if you promote your brand as XYZ personal training and you talk about XYZ personal training, that's great, but people don't come to your business because of your logo. People don't come to your business over and over again because of, XYZ personal training. Why they really come to your business is because of what you do for them as a person. They relate to you as the personal trainer. So if you're a service-driven business, I just want to encourage you to make sure that you're approachable. Make sure that in your marketing, on your social media, people can actually see that it's you, that you're a real person that they can relate to and contact if need to. You never want to grow so big in the relationship economy that you distance yourself between you and your customers, especially if you're a service-driven business. Always make sure that you're approachable and contactable. Now, step number 6 is to train your people, to train your team. You've got to make sure that you spend an adequate amount of time training your team. It's very important in this economy. It's a hyper-competitive marketplace at the moment. Right now, as you're watching this as you're listening to this podcast, or you're watching this, as a live recording or a recording hangout of On Deck with Coach Cameron, right now your competitors are figuring out a way to steal your clients. Right now they're trying to figure out a way to steal your customers. And your competitors are no longer people in the local area. Like if you're a bookkeeper, for instance, and you might be a bookkeeper in your city. Well, your competition is no longer the other bookkeepers in your city. Your competition lives on a whole nother country. You with me? So people can get a bookkeeper, on the internet. They can get a bookkeeper on another state, another country, on some part of the world. They don't actually need to contact a bookkeeper in your city anymore. Bookkeeping has changed. Everything's in the cloud. They don't need the receipts and everything's uploaded and streamlined. So you can see how important it is to train your team in a hyper-competitive marketplace. You've got to train your team on how they should deal with complaints. You need to train your team on how to deal with customers, how to, be friendly to customers, how to overcome challenges, how to do what you do. Whatever service that you provide, you should be training your team. And I don't just mean train them once. It's not like a job induction, right? Is when they first start the job, here's what to do, here's the list, now go and do it. No, it's not like that at all. What you need to do is set time aside each week or at the very least every month where you're training your team. Again, it's like a professional football team or a professional NFL team or NBA team. Those guys and girls, teams don't get to where they are and being a championship team by training once when they're first put together. Yet how many business owners and business teams do exactly that? They train once a year. They'll go away to a conference. They'll train once a year, and they're expected to perform for the other 11 months of the year. That's just insane thinking. Competitive athletes don't do it. Competitive teams, professional sporting teams don't do it. And your professional business team shouldn't do it either. So make sure you put aside time each week, preferably, if not each week, every month, where you can train your team on your systems, train your team on customer service, train your team on sales techniques and sales processes, train your team on marketing, train your team on social media, how to connect with prospects. So, work hard on training your team and creating the best team that, your team can be. Okay, so last one, step number 7 is to create a massive digital footprint. You want a digital footprint, an online footprint so big that it's going to crush your competition. You want it bigger than your competitors. So when someone looks you up on their smartphone or online, you're everywhere, right? Your competitor might have one website, you have three, and you might say, well, why do I want three websites? Well, hey, you know what? Maybe you offer three different services. And I can think of a particular service in my town, and I won't name them because that wouldn't be the right thing to do. But they're a particular service, and they offer, 10 other services outside that one core service. So, I don't want to get into it because if I say it, I might give them away. But they're one core service, and the other services aren't really related. But when you go to their website, they do all these other 10 services. Now, what I would do if I was them, I would keep that core service and just promote the core service and have 5 other websites for that particular market. So if someone, for instance, is looking for someone to clean their pool, they don't go to, the core service over here, which might be car detailing, for instance. They're not going to go to the car detailing site, and one of the other services is will clean your pool. You see what I mean? It's a massive disconnect. So when someone types in clean pools, they want to get the clean pool guy. So have a different website for the different services that you provide, especially if they're very vast, and that will also help you create a larger digital footprint. Now, the next way of doing this is to create multiple landing pages. Now, a landing page is where someone will go to, and there's nothing else for them to do but to get more information. So they exchange, and you've probably seen this, they exchange their name and their email for some information. It might be some free videos, it might be a free report, it might be, some sort of what we call lead generation magnet, some sort of educational program, a DVD, a special information kit, a fast start guide. You can be creative about it, but a landing page will help you build your list. But it will also help you increase your digital footprint, because you can put these landing pages on social media, you can send them out to your list, and again, you get more people sharing and liking your content. Now, social media is another way to increase your digital footprint. You can do social media ads, social media ad campaigns, and you can do improve your SEO. You can write on blogs. You can do webinars. You can do interviews with other people. You can get interviewed by someone else. I mean, I like to interview people. So if you're thinking you've got an inspirational story, or you want to be interviewed by me, you can come on to On Deck with Coach Cameron, and I'll share your story with my people. So you can get interviewed by other people. So if you are interested in getting interviewed by Coach Cameron, you can go to you can go to coachcameronroberts.com, and a third way down the page, you can see there'll be a link there for you to apply to be a guest on the show, so you can do that. So that's one way. You can do interviews, you can interview other people, you can do videos just like this, you can do educational or empowering videos for people. You can do blogs, you can write for other blogs, so you can obviously write content on your blog, but you can write for other blogs. So contact other blogs who are part of what you do. So there's some big blogs out there, and maybe you're a specialist, maybe you're an expert in your industry, and you can write for those other blogs as well. But the goal is to create a massive digital footprint, a digital footprint that's bigger than your competitors, so that you can be found when people are looking for you on their smartphone, on their mobile devices, and on their desktops or laptops. Okay, well, that's about it for me. I've covered the 7 steps for dominating your target market or dominating your industry or category. Trust they've been helpful. As always, make sure you take action on them. Pick maybe 2 or 3 that you can do today, something you can do right now today, and take action on it to make a difference in your business, in your life. Until then, if you want more information about our programs, you can go to our website at coachcameronroberts.com, and you can find out all the professional digital marketing services that we provide. Okay, this is Coach Cameron signing out. I'll see you next week live on deck with Coach Cameron. Thank you.